Hi, this is going to be a short video demonstrating some of the easiest to use features of Read and Write, specifically features that will help with reading. So I'm logged in as a student and I'm in Google Classroom, and I noticed that my teacher assigned me a creative writing assignment. So I'm going to open up the assignment and I'll see that my teacher assigned me a Google Doc that I'm supposed to work on and turn in. And he also included a link to a website that has information for me to read to help me work on that Google Doc. So first, I'm going to open up the Google Doc, and teachers and students may have noticed on their Chromebooks that now when you open up a Google Doc, you create a new Google Doc, you'll see the icon for Read and Write appear just above the Google Doc, so this purple puzzle piece. What this icon does within a Google Doc is when I click on it, it shows the Read and Write toolbar and all of the tools that are available to use within a Google Doc. If this toolbar is in the way, I can just click on that purple puzzle piece again and it'll hide the toolbar. So you can click anytime you want to show and anytime you want to hide it. So let's show it again. So there are a bunch of different features that you can use in Read and Write, but in this video we're just going to focus on a couple of the easiest to use ones to get started. So here in my Google Doc, if I put my cursor here in the beginning of the text, one of the most useful things you can do with Read and Write is have it read text aloud to you. So just by clicking on this play button here on the Read and Write toolbar, Read and Write will read aloud any of the text that comes after the cursor that I've placed in my Google Doc.
Describe what you think would happen if the entire world was a desert.
So this feature can be really helpful, one, if you're having difficulty reading what is in the Google Doc, but it also can be really useful for proofreading. Sometimes having something read to you or reading something aloud can help you proofread your writing a little bit easier or help you find things that maybe you didn't find when you're just looking at it on the screen. The rest of the controls here control the playback while you have Read and Write reading the text. So if I start playing again,
Describe what you think would happen if
I can pause the playback by using the pause button, and then clicking again would restart it.
the entire world was.
And I can also stop the playback entirely by clicking the stop button. If I have playback paused,
Describe what you.
I can't use any of the other tools on the Read and Write toolbar until I either unpause it or stop it. So that stop button can be helpful if you get stuck. Some other tools that are available in Read and Write that are really helpful when you're reading things on screen is something called the screen masking tool. So this button here on the Read and Write toolbar, and when I click that, now as I move my mouse up and down the screen, you'll see that it highlights a certain part of the screen, or it masks off the rest of the screen. This can be really helpful if you have trouble reading when things are on the screen and your eyes have difficulty sort of following the text along. Some people really struggle with reading lots of text on the screen, so having the screen mask that can help you focus line by line as you go up and down, some people find that really helpful. And to turn the screen mask tool off, I just click that button on the toolbar again. So very simple and easy to use. Another helpful feature when you're reading a passage is Read and Write actually has two dictionaries built in. So if I wasn't sure about this word here, if I highlight that in my document, I can click on the dictionary button on the Read and Write toolbar, and a window will pop up that gives me the term or the word that I searched for, and it'll give me a list of definitions. The other great thing about the dictionary built into Read and Write is it'll play back both the pronunciation of the word I selected,
Desert.
and I can have it play back any of the individual definitions.
Noun. Arid land with little or no vegetation.
So that can be really helpful for some people if they just want to hear the pronunciation of the word out loud, or if they want to hear the definition of the word out loud. The other type of dictionary that's available is a picture dictionary. So again, I've got the word desert highlighted in my Google Doc. So when I click on the the Pictionary button, which is right to the right next to the regular dictionary button, again, it opens up a dictionary that has the word and I can listen to the pronunciation of the word.
desert,
But instead of written definitions, it'll show pictures or diagrams of that word. So for some readers, this can be really, really helpful. It can also provide additional context for people. So I'm just going to close that. So those are some of the quickest, easiest to use features of Read and Write within a Google Doc. There are many others that we'll go over in other videos, but I also wanted to show you how Read and Write works on a website. So if I go back to that assignment that my teacher put into Google Classroom, I'll notice there's a link to a website that he wants us to check out. So when I open up the website, I'll see that still in Chrome, there's that purple puzzle piece. It's not in the exact same place as a Google Doc, it's a little higher up, but when I click on that puzzle piece, it makes the Read and Write toolbar appear. The great thing about the Read and Write toolbar when you're looking at a website, as I just showed, is you can click and drag it and move it around. So if it's in the way of something, you can move it anywhere inside that website page and let go and it'll stick there. So you'll notice that the toolbar has a lot of the same tools that we had access to within a Google Doc. So I can highlight a word and use the dictionary.
geography,
I can use the screen masking tool, which can really, really be helpful on a website, particularly if it has lots and lots of text and it's easy to turn on and off. I can have it read words aloud on the website. So I could start here.
deserts. They don't get much rain.
So a lot of those features work almost exactly the same. However, there's one additional feature for websites when you're using Read and Write that's not available in a Google Doc and probably wouldn't be appropriate or be as useful within a Google Doc. This website is a great example of sometimes when you're on the web looking at a site, the sites have lots of extra stuff all over the place. So in the case of this site, I've got an advertisement banner here. I've got an advertisement here on the side. I've got extra pictures. I've got all kinds of stuff that takes my attention away from the important information that I really need to check out. Read and Write has a feature that'll try to simplify the page and only show you the important information on it and get rid of all the extra stuff. So here on the toolbar, there's a button for Simplified Page when you're using Read and Write on a website. And if I click that button, it'll open up a brand new tab. And here on this brand new tab, you'll see that it tried to simplify just the text, just the information on the website, and get rid of all the other additional extraneous stuff. So there are no pictures, no advertisements, no banners, nothing like that. If I move the Read and Write toolbar out of the way, you'll notice there are also some additional controls here on this simplified website. So Read and Write makes its best effort to try and simplify the site without getting rid of any of the important information, but you may find that it looks like there's some things missing. So I can try and reduce the amount of simplification by hitting the minus button. And you'll notice that here, now it put back some of the formatting of the text. So now some of the text is bold here. And if I click plus to increase the amount of simplification, some of that went away. Some of that boldness formatting went away on the page. So you can use these buttons to try and customize it, and if you think there's anything lost. The other great thing that you can do is there's a contrast control here next to simplify that lets you change the color scheme and the contrast of the text. So some people really don't like reading black text on a white screen, a white background. So I can reverse it and try white on black. And some people find that easier to read on a screen. Let me move the toolbar out of the way. I can also choose some other schemes like blue text on a yellow background or yellow text on a blue background. So right now there are just 4 choices offered, but you may find that those choices work better for you when you're reading text on a screen. Once you're done looking at the simplified version of a website, you would just close that tab and it would bring you back to the full version of the site. And when I go back to the full version of the site, you see that the Read and Write toolbar is still there, and I can hide that again anytime I want by clicking on that purple puzzle piece. I hope this short video gave you an idea of some of the tools available in Read and Write, specifically tools that are related to reading that can help make reading easier either within a Google Doc or on any website. We'll be talking about some of the other features in Read and Write in future videos. So I hope you found this helpful.